I am connecting with Bobbi. Okay, there you go.
Oh,
Hi.
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 How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I decided to play it up a little different and be outside while I
Why
can.
not?
Why not?
Do
Why
you have
not?
headphones?
Do you have headphones?
I can get them. Would that be
Yeah,
easier?
because I'm echoing.
Yeah, because I'm echoing.
Yeah, let me grab them real quick.
Okay.
Bear with me.
Okay.
Hey, Pat, thanks for
Hey, Pat, thanks for
tuning in.
tuning in.
Headphones are en route.
All right.
All right.
It's 9 o'clock here, so it's finally cool enough that in Ohio that we can actually sit outside. So I'm taking advantage.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Shoot, I should go outside too.
All right, I'm just gonna
Shoot, I should go outside too.
You should. All right, I'm gonna have a weird angle until I get these earbuds
That's
in.
fine.
That's fine.
Okay.
Hey, Candace.
Good.
Okay.
Juanita, is there a way that I could see comments or
Yeah,
no?
you should be
Any
able
idea?
to on your screen side. No, the other way. You're sideways.
Okay.
Yeah. Like side swipe on the bottom of your screen. You should be able to see the comments.
Okay.
Do you see it?
Okay. I do.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, guys. So we got some viewers. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. As you can see, Bobbi is outside. Maybe I should go outside and do this interview. I mean, it's beautiful out here. We've been having horrible hot weather in the 90s, which I love it though. I love the heat and the humidity. But today it's cooler. So yeah, that was a good idea. But maybe I'm already inside and I'm already in here. So
Next
yeah,
time.
next time.
Next time.
Next time. So hey, Jody, it's great that you're tuning in. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, Jody.
Hey, Adriana. Hey, Davi. Let me see who else is. So yeah, so you can see it as well. They're gonna when they ask questions, you can see it. Hey, Sherry. Thank you guys for all tuning in. Hey, Velma. So let's get started. I want to introduce you guys to Bobbi. Bobbi is a lung cancer survivor and a sister as well. And she has an amazing story. And she's been having some issues with her lung cancer. And I really wanted her, I'm glad that she was able to do this interview because I really want her to share with you guys her story and what is she's going through right now. Ooh, Susan is in Hawaii. Hey, Susan.
I just saw that. We're jealous, Susan.
I know. Hey, Erin. Hey, Susan, do you live in Hawaii or are you vacationing? Because I'm going out there in October.
She's
Let me know.
vacationing.
Oh, she's vacationing? Okay.
Yes, they're living the high life.
Yes, they are.
And well deserved.
I'll join you in Hawaii, but I'm not going to October. Hey, Mary. So I'm going to give it over to Bobbi, and I'm going to let her talk about a little bit about, of course, her journey with lung cancer when she was diagnosed, all that's important stuff, and then what she's dealing with now. And then she's going to share with you guys how what gives her hope, what continue to give her hope, and how she fights forward. She's a huge advocate, just like I am. And then she's going to talk a little bit about what is her advocacy work. What does she focus more? Because we all do advocacy work, but we all kind of focus more on something. And so she'll talk about that as well. She has an amazing story. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure you share this, tag people that you know, and let's get this built up, this audience. So go ahead, Bobbi, take it away.
Great. Juanita, thank you so much. You are the biggest advocate for lung cancer research that there is. So thanks for giving us your sisters and brothers out there that are lung cancer patients and survivors and caregivers the forum to just raise awareness. And I'm seeing all the people, friends of mine locally here that are dialing in. I'm seeing some of the patients and caregivers that are on, a couple of the trials that I've been a part of. Even looks like some of my former colleagues, hi Kristen, are also
Woohoo! Thank you,
joining.
guys.
So I think it's a great opportunity. And I think I would start by just saying something that many of us know. Chris Draft has a famous line. Chris Draft is a former NFL player. And he tells us that he did not wake up one day and decide that he was going to be a lung cancer advocate. He, like many of us, unfortunately, was stricken with this disease in his family. In his case, it was his loved one, his fiance. In my case, I was diagnosed with lung cancer, advanced stage lung cancer, at age 40 when I was just recovering, actually, from giving birth to our first and only baby daughter, Catherine, middle name for a reason, Grace Filipiak. And one of the things that I really want to talk about today is that, I was a person who was much like many of you that are listening and out there and commenting. And please comment if you agree with this. But, look, we live our day and our weeks and our months and years just kind of a little bit almost in a fog. We think we have our shit together and we've got our careers together. We've got our families and everything is lined up and we've got the golden egg, right? And that is, in my belief, that's the prime time when, we feel like we're hitting the apex of life and suddenly we get knocked down a notch. I'm sure, Juanita, you know that feeling. And many of our listeners today also know that feeling. That feeling hit me when I was in the hospital recovering from an emergency C-section with my daughter. And I'll tell you what happened. It's an interesting story, but not unlike many of us out there. I mean, look, lung cancer strikes more people in this country than you'd find on an annual basis than you'd find in a 737 or a 787 jumbo jet that would be falling from the sky every day.
737.
Right? A Boeing 737 falling from the sky every single day. That's how many people are stricken with lung cancer. And they're mostly people like us that are healthy, active. Juanita owns her own CrossFit studio and she's, kicking, ass and taking names and still is amidst her fight. And she's a definite, role model for all of us. But, we were mostly healthy, otherwise unaware of this thing called lung cancer, right? Many of us never smoked. We're healthy. And in my case, like I said, I was in the hospital and the doctor called for a CT scan because I was trembling after the emergency C-section. And that was not uncommon that it would last for a couple of days. And the CT technician at the local hospital here accidentally scanned my chest. He misread the orders. And they scanned my chest and found advanced stage lung cancer.
Wow.
So my daughter was in NICU and I was in the hospital and I was about to enjoy being a new mom for the very first time and my husband as well. And there we were. With the challenge of a lifetime, still excited to venture into this new world called raising a family, but struggling with how are we going to do this in the lung cancer space, a space that we know nothing about.
Wow.
So that's my story. That's the beginning of what happened, and I think it's pretty telling that those of you that are listening and maybe some of you are shocked to hear the story. Mine is not unlike many of the friends that I've met on my 6-year journey. And I think it behooves all of us to talk about it. We talk about cancer in the space where it's mostly, breast cancer and funding for breast cancer. But I think all cancers are critical. And I think one that gets the least amount of funding, in fact, I know gets the least amount of funding, and yet takes the most people every year is lung cancer. It takes more lives than the next 3 cancers combined, breast, colon, prostate, right? And gets less than 6% of the federal funding for cancer research. So it is absolutely critical that everybody watching starts to just, even if you just like tilt your head a little bit and wonder like, wow, is that true? And Google it, check it out.
Right.
And more importantly, talk to people about it. It's not a smoker's disease anymore. Certainly, if you don't know by now that smoking is bad for your health, that's on you. But there are a lot of us out there, 60+% of us that have never picked up a cigarette, or some people that quit decades ago. So there's something else going on environmentally that we
Yes.
should all care about,
Yes. I
right? We should
agree.
all care about.
Yes. And when you said that they accidentally did a chest x-ray, I don't see it as accidental. That was all God right there.
Right. You
That was
betcha.
him.
You betcha. Divine
Yes,
intervention.
that was when you said that. I'm like, oh no, and people ask, well, your guy gave you lung cancer, and if they don't read the Word or go to church or study, then they don't understand how God works. And I tell them,
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and debate with you and try to preach to you or teach you. You got to pick up the Bible or go to church or talk to a pastor or something and learn, because
Yeah.
to get an understanding of how things are done. But that was all God right there. That amen. Oh my
You bet.
goodness. All God.
Well, and I think it's important for us to all, whether it's in this discussion today, we're talking specifically about dealing with lung cancer, but think about all of you that are listening, whatever is troubling you right now that's happening in your life, something with your kids, your parents, your family situation, a struggle that you have, you've got to lean into something. So why not lean into your faith, because that's where it's at. And if we don't open our eyes to see all the silver linings that are happening around us, myself, for example, I got pregnant at 40, which is kind of unheard of to do that without, special help and assistance. And she came early via emergency C-section, as I mentioned. And that was another second silver lining moment that she was successful. They diagnosed me with HELP syndrome, which is a extreme form of preeclampsia, and she survived. I survived, and thank God. Again, the other silver lining and divine intervention moment was that technician that misread the orders, and I was fortunate enough that I had a chance through my neurologist to actually meet the technician who misread that order, because I wanted to thank him because he saved a life.
Yes. Amen.
And had they not misread the orders and scanned my chest, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have found it. I was working 40, 50-hour work weeks, traveling all over the world, 8 months pregnant, wearing my stiletto heels and rocking it out and still working out. I mean,
Love it. I love it.
I had absolutely no symptoms, nothing.
Wow.
So when they told me about this, it was a shock to all of us, as you can imagine.
Now, Bobby, what stage? Stage 4, right? Yeah, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And did you do the biomarker? What gene?
Yeah, so for those of you listening, many of you know about biomarker testing, but biomarker testing, human genome sequencing, whatever you want to call it, this is a slice of heaven that came through the Biden administration when the moonshot program was started, if you remember that, under
Yes.
all politics aside, but under Obama, that Biden was given many millions of dollars to start this. It was basically a meeting of all the most brilliant minds around the world to map the human genome, and through that they mapped every gene in the human body for the first time ever. So through that, science took a huge leap forward. And all of us as cancer survivors, regardless of the cancer that we're faced with, we're benefiting from that. So our doctors do either a plasma liquid blood type biopsy or something more invasive, which most of us have had, which is, they do a needle through your chest to your lung to extract tissue. And when they send that tissue to the lab, they can determine, what was it that was mutated. And, I know my mutation amongst, I'm sure, many are, it's an EGFR exon 20 insertion mutation.
Okay.
I had no idea what that was before this
Right.
journey, but now I know a heck of a lot about it. But it's critical to do genomic testing when you're first diagnosed with any kind of cancer. Don't listen to a doctor that's telling you you've got to rush into chemo. Please don't do that. That's a 40-year-old wives' tale. You absolutely have to get a genomic sequence, genomic marker testing first.
Yes.
They can be done pretty fast.
Yes.
And then that will pave the way for what treatment can be targeted just for you.
Exactly. I agree. With me, when I was diagnosed almost 5 years ago, that's exactly what they did. Right away, chemo radiation. You got to do chemo radiation. It's aggressive and blah, blah, blah. Like, wait, hold up. I'm only stage 3. No, we got to do it right now. And sure enough, I started chemo radiation. I had the biomarker testing. You know how long it took for me to get my results? 6 weeks. They did it when I started chemo radiation. My husband was asking almost every week because he didn't want me to do chemo. He did not want me. He was so against it. And We got the results the last day of my chemo. Yes, and
Wow.
I was, that's when they told me I'm ALK positive. And then from there, my sister took me to the Mayo
Oh,
Clinic. But yes, and so that's why I pushed the biomarker testing or genomic testing or whatever people call it
yeah.
nowadays. I pushed that because I could avoid it, chemo radiation, and just went straight to the targeted
Yep.
therapy.
Absolutely. And I know people that were put straight on a combination immunotherapy and chemotherapy, myself
Hmm.
included. I was on the triplet, the two
Yeah.
chemos, the platinum chemo, the Olympta chemo, and the first line
Uh-huh.
immunotherapy, Keytruda
Hmm.
or Pembro, and that was my first clinical trial that I was a part
Hmm.
of. But for some people, if they have a specific genetic marker, that will actually work against them to have immunotherapy. So I think you're right on. It has to be done early,
Yes.
quickly.
And so it is, I see that it's getting done that more and more, but still there's just a lot of doctors that still don't know about the biomarker testing. And I do know, I heard stories that someone that's diagnosed with lung cancer and they go to just a general oncologist, well, the first thing they're going to say is chemo, radiation. No, 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 no. I tell people, do your homework. Go to a lung cancer specialist and then go from there. Okay, you're diagnosed,
Right.
do the biomarker. From there, go somewhere else. Because those,
That's right.
just a regular oncologist like the one they gave me when I was diagnosed, and I was clueless, I was naive. What the hell would I thought? I never would thought I had lung cancer. And right away he wanted to
Sure.
push it. I'm like, no, I'm going to. But, the other hospital that we chose, well, my sister, my husband chose, unfortunately, I wish I didn't go there either, but it is what it is. And I think I went through that so I could help others not go through what I went through and help them get,
I think that's
yeah,
a fair way of looking
yeah,
at it. You almost have to look at the tough stuff and the hills that we've climbed and say, okay, now how can I help
yes.
others? Which is exactly what you're doing, Juanita, with this amazing product you put together with these
Well,
weekly
thank you.
podcasts. Just talking about the importance of it. People don't really. I didn't realize how complex cancer was
Hmm.
until it hit me. And, I'm here to tell you, and all of us that are in the same space, there are no two cancers that are alike and no two
Right.
people. Even with lung cancer, right? I mean, you could be ALK, you could EGFR, you could be ROS.
Hmm.
There's so
There's,
many
yes,
mutation markers, and your therapy could go in very different
yes,
directions. So, yeah, I think that's a great call out. I think the other thing I'd love to talk about are clinical
yes,
trials and how important those
yes.
are.
Listen up, guys.
Um, so I think, my first course of treatment I mentioned early days, unfortunately, before I even got my genetic marker testing, I, like you,
Hmm.
Juanita, was community hospital. We were concerned. I was a new mom of a, weeks old baby, and we wanted to hammer whatever we could as quickly as we could. We didn't know much.
Hmm.
We were very naive about it. So we did go into the platinum chemo, the 6 weeks of radiation every day. I had lung surgery. And then I was in remission for about 18 months.
Hmm.
It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through, but I thought I was done. But through a follow-up CT scan, which we know in the cancer world is part of our life
Yes.
going forward, I had a follow-up CT scan, and it showed that my cancer had metastasized or grown to my brain and to my kidney.
Oh.
So it was at that point that, 18 months into the journey, we kind of pulled the trigger and said, okay, now let's get second, third, and fourth
Hmm.
opinions at some of the best research hospitals around the country. We did that. We went to Cleveland Clinic,
Hmm.
and that was actually at the advice of my local oncologist. He said, I don't know what else we can do for you here.
Hmm.
So let's go ahead and send you to Cleveland Clinic. They've got a great trial,
Hmm.
and I think you'll do really well. So that was the chemo immunotherapy combined trial.
Okay.
And I did really well on that for
Awesome.
2 years. Two
Good.
years. So when I progressed on that first trial, I then progressed to the other lung
Hmm.
and progressed again to the brain,
Oh, God.
and we zapped that through Gamma Knife, which I'll tell you, it sounds scary because they put your head in this big metal vise. It's like Frankenstein. I remember the holes where they drill it right here into your
Hmm.
head. You can't move. It's really not that bad. I mean, if anyone out there is being told that they may have to go through this Gamma Knife, don't worry, don't sweat it, because I'll tell you, you'll be in and out. It takes longer just to set up the machine, and you don't feel a thing. And the next night, 24 hours after my Gamma Knife surgery to the brainstem, we were having to host a party for 75 people for the holidays that we didn't want to cancel. I didn't want to cancel, and I was glad I didn't, and I did great. So, so anyhow, so that was my first clinical trial was Cleveland Clinic. Then I went to MD Anderson after that brainstem radiation, and from there in MD Anderson Houston, I had to fly every single month to Houston from Detroit, Michigan. So think about that, the hardship on patients. I love a clinical trial, but I think we as advocates have to make sure we do our part to try to make trial protocol much more patient friendly. And I don't know, Juanita, if you've had any experience with that, what your views are, but I think requiring people, and Susan, who's on, knows this, she had to fly from California to Houston every month. We had a friend flying in from the Netherlands to
Oh
Houston every
God.
month, from Asia every month. The expense
Yes, I
alone,
could imagine.
the hardship of being seriously ill and having to get on a plane, and that's the protocol for a trial to save your life. So we're working on it. In fact, I'm not sure how many of you on the phone here are going to be in DC for the advocacy on Capitol Hill the end of this month, but that's one of the things we're going to be
I'll
advocating.
be there, and Bobbi, who's on, and so from Chicago it's me, Bobbi, Terry, I think this Maria, and I don't know who else. I got the email. So from Chicago, I'm Indiana, but I'm considered Chicagoland. So yeah, we're all going. So we'll be there.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
The Chicago crew will
That's
be
right.
in-house. I love it.
Woo!
Oh, that's great. So yeah, I think, two things that we mentioned so far that I just want to repeat for anyone that's just dialed in a little bit and joining us late. Both of us being advanced stage lung cancer patients, you 5 years, myself 6 years, many of those dialed in listening are the same situation. Biomarker testing is a must.
Yes.
If you know someone who's dealing with or is just recently diagnosed, make sure that they're getting biomarker testing done. The second thing is make sure you're asking about clinical trials. Clinicaltrial.gov is there for anyone to search, but it is a beast if you don't know what you're looking for. I think, Jody made a really good point too. I think there's international patients have, I think, the biggest
Yes.
burden to bear
Yes.
because they're in the same situation we are. In some cases, they don't qualify. And they
Oh
have to pay out of
wow.
pocket if they want it. Out of pocket for the drug, which can be $30,000 a dose, or a month, for example. So it's got to
Yes, it
change. It
does. I
absolutely has to
agree.
change.
So then talk a little bit more about the expenses. So are we're going to talk about that at the summit when we go in a couple of weeks or week and a half. But
Yeah.
what do you want to do? Do you want to like start an organization? Do you want to start something to help these people with the expenses going to places for the clinical trials? Because that's what I'm kind of getting, and I think you'll be great if you start some type of organization or something to get help for these people. I don't know much about clinical trials. I didn't do clinical trials, but honey, I jump on board on anything just to help anybody
Right.
when it comes to lung cancer. And everyone knows people, lung
Yeah.
cancer world, other cancer world, friends and family, Chicago, Northwest Indiana, they all know how I am. Whatever it is for lung cancer, I'm there. What can I help? What can I do? I am there because
Yeah.
I, my passion, my goal, and my prayers is for all of us to live longer as long as possible. I want all of us to grow old and take trips and see our grandchildren grow and our kids. And that's why I'm so passionate when I do these interviews and when I do
Yeah.
anything when it comes to advocacy. So what are you looking to do now?
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
Well, my view is, advocacy is important, but it means different things to different
Right.
people. And in my view, I think helping even one person,
Yes.
being able to influence one person to get the help, to get the resources. So, for example, a couple of us within the MD Anderson trial, which was a spectrum pharmaceutical trial, we advocated with the pharmaceutical company to say, look, this is ridiculous. This is costing people, thousands of dollars a month out of pocket. And we have, in many cases, people are out of jobs because they can't work while they're going through
Right.
treatments as well. And trying to find the money to foot the bill for lung cancer treatment is another burden that lung cancer patients shouldn't have to deal with.
Right.
So my view is more about raising awareness, talking about it, pushing on these pharmaceutical companies when you're a part of a trial and pushing the limits, even though the 72-page protocol says the pharmaceutical is not paying anything, that it's at the employer's expense. I think we should push
Look,
it.
her
Oh my
head.
goodness.
This is
Look at the
no, this is my
baby.
niece. This is not my granddaughter. This is my niece Emma.
Oh,
But look how Steve has her. Steve, her head. There,
oh,
that's
how
Emma.
sweet. Hi, Emma, sweet
Say
girl.
bye. Yeah, my granddaughter moved out, so she's not here.
Oh, I was hoping we'd
I
see
know.
her
I was hoping
today.
my son will come over and eat and bring the baby. So maybe they'll still come over. I'm crossing my fingers. Yeah.
Maybe, maybe. Well, I just saw Jody commented out there from Canada, just north of the border. Jody, thinking about you all the time. You are seriously a rock star. So she's in the poziotinib trial that I just came
Okay.
off of after 2 years. So she's in it in Canada. It's not easy. It's a struggle mentally,
Yes, I.
physically. But you know, advocacy takes many different
Yes.
forms. One of the things that I've done within the exon 20 space, you know, getting back to those genetic mutation markers, there's EGFR 19, 20, 21. 20s are very rare. So, you know, as we started, gosh, I think it was three years ago, I was at a longevity conference, and the question was posed to the audience of about 400 lung cancer survivors. How many of you are, you know, ROS1 mutation? How many of you are ELK? How many are EGFR? Okay, of EGFR, 19s, 21s, and then how many exon 20s? There were two of us
Wow.
in that entire group, Kevin Hanlon and myself. So Kevin and I met up at that first break, and he is a powerhouse in knowledge, living up in upstate New York. He is somebody who helped me in my initial days. So that was advocacy. That was something that really helped me to figure out the first initial days of, you know, what do I do with this marker testing and what are the options? So it was because of Kevin Hanlon's advocacy that I found out about the trial at MD Anderson in
Awesome.
Houston, and got me 2 good years out of it. I started a Facebook page called the Exon 20 Fight Club. And, you
Cool.
know, Jody and Susan and many that are out there are part of that. And we share, you know, war stories, we share advice. We always encourage people to cross-reference with their doctors, of course, but we roll up our sleeves and really talk about, okay, guys, what's working for you? I mean, you talk about the symptoms that we have to go through, the side effects of being on some of these drugs is really a harsh reality. So I think that's also advocacy, is just helping each other to get through the tough stuff.
Right.
So one of the things too, Juanita, I mentioned I was in Cleveland Clinic for my first trial, 2 years. I just hit my 2 years at MD Anderson in Houston. And this last week, Tuesday, not even a week ago, I started my third clinical trial. So if this one is closer to home, it's about a 45-minute drive up at University of Michigan, Ann Arbor.
Okay.
And I'm really excited. It's the Takeda 788 trial. And if anybody's out there, please chime in if you're on the Takeda TAC 788 trial. But honestly, I feel better in the first couple of days than I have in the
Awesome.
last 3 weeks. You know, you have to have this washout period, which means you can't be on any treatment for 2 or 3 weeks before you start the next trial. And that is such a tough period because I know for a fact my cancer grew aggressively. I have felt up until a day ago, literally 24 hours ago, when I went to my daughter's swim meet, I was, you know, my husband was pushing me in a wheelchair at the hospital to get information on this trial. I was weak. I was nauseous. I had lost a lot of weight. I was just, it's that period that you can't be on any treatments that it really literally can kill a patient. And I've known many that it has. So we've got to change that. We have to change it. So I think, you know, my moral of the story is I'm a huge advocate of clinical trials. I've been on now 3, and I think that they're the wave of the future, and it's where the best and brightest technology is happening for those aggressive lung cancers and other cancers that are out there. But we just have to push the protocol.
Yes.
We've got to limit those washout periods so people can go from treatment to treatment
Yes.
without having their cancer progress so quickly and rapidly. And we've got to make sure pharmaceuticals who are making billions of dollars a year are willing to foot the bill to get patients the treatment
Yes.
that they
Yes.
need. Because in a trial, guess who's getting the data?
Yes.
The pharmaceutical company is benefiting from the data.
Exactly.
So why shouldn't they be supporting us financially
Thank
by getting
you.
to the sites we need
Thank
to,
you. I'm
right?
glad you said that. Yes, I agree with you 100%. So anyone out there
Sorry, I'm
listening
getting a
from the
mosquito in my face.
pharmaceutical world, you heard what Bobbi said? Flip it, honey. Flip the bill.
That's right. And I love my pharmaceutical friends. I mean, I wouldn't
Yeah,
be here if they didn't have
exactly.
research, but we need their help
Yes.
to really push the limits on pharmaceutical companies that are making so much money, and the burden is on the
Yes.
patient to foot the bill to get to the sites. It's very restrictive. So I think that's something that we can absolutely do. I'm just curious, did you see any questions come up on the screen
Yes.
at all that, okay?
Um, so,
Hey, there's our other Bobby
yeah.
out there. Hi,
So
Bobby.
Tony wants to know, this is a question for you. So maybe you need to explain it again. What exactly do you mean by EGFR 20? She means exon 20. So explain that to her because she must have missed it when you explained it.
Sure, sure. So I'm hearing a delay. Are you?
No. Can you hear me?
I can, but I'm hearing it repeat, so I'm not sure why. But I'll go ahead and speak over that.
Okay.
I think, when we talk about genetic marker testing, there's EGFR, there's ROS1, there's ELK, there's all kinds of genetic markers that are causing a particular cancer. And in lung cancer, there's a huge stigma that smoking causes lung cancer, right? And that's not the case. That's not the case. It's sometimes something that is gone wrong in one cell in our body, one genetic marker in our system. In my case, it's called, of the whole human genome, it's the EGFR exon 20 insertion model. That's the model where I'm mutating.
Okay.
I'm going to take my speakers for a second because I'm hearing a delay. Can you hear me okay
Yeah, I
now?
could hear you.
Yeah, I can
Okay,
hear
but
you.
now I
Perfect.
have an
But
echo.
now I have an echo.
Okay,
So
so I had an echo a second ago. Let
So
me plug them back in.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, how
Okay,
about
let's try
now?
that.
How about now?
I think we're good.
Okay. Good. Okay. All right, guys. So you heard it. If you have any questions for Bobbi, more questions, please just type them up. She could see them and I could see them. And if she can't, we'll just read them off to each other.
Yep.
So Bobbi, tell us now with everything that's going on, you're doing well. You're on a clinical trial. I know that clinical trial gives you hope. What else gives you hope? And what
Well,
words of advice or encouragement or inspiration words that you have for our viewers and anything, not just in
it's
cancer, but
a
in anything, because we all go through storms every day.
that's right. Storms every
Mhm.
day, absolutely. Well, I mean, I think the last couple of months have been probably the biggest trial that I've been in my 6-year journey outside of the initial diagnosis, physically and mentally. So, for me, I think what gives me hope is being able to know that I'm not in it alone, to know that I have lung cancer brothers and sisters like you, Anita, and Sam, who was on last week, and so many others. Susan, who's the most amazing caregiver of her husband, who's got the same mutation marker that I do. What gives me hope are the people that we can pull together as a
Mhm.
community and rally. And even Jody, who's sometimes probably feels a little isolated being all the way up in Canada, we're all
Mhm.
together. We're all
Yes, we
together,
are.
and Juanita's connecting us through this kind of social media. So what gives me hope is that we can pull together as a community, stay strong and stay
Mhm.
focused, because I'll tell you what, we all know that the minute that we let our mind go south on the reality of cancer, regardless of the cancer type, it can be a downward spiral that will pull you so fast, and you
Yes.
have to keep the faith. So, me, I have my daily devotional next to my bed every day. I'll be honest with you, before my lung cancer journey, I was kind of, you know, dipping my toe
Mhm.
in, my Christian faith. I was raised with a strong Christian background, but I got distracted. I had my career, my family, my friends, everything was going so well. And I realized that was my wake up call. And I'll tell you something that may sound crazy, but I'm grateful that this journey has opened my eyes. This journey has opened my eyes to see this, why I'm out here in my
Yes.
backyard. Look at that.
Amen.
I'm out
Yes.
here, and I'm enjoying the little things in life. Susan, bless you too, honey. I'm enjoying the little things in life that I never would have before, and that is the greatest gift. So what gives me hope is knowing that when I read those words in my Bible, it gives me hope that he has this and he knows what my future holds. And I just need to go along for the ride and make sure that I'm helping others and listening to the signs every day of what I can do to help others and bring people along the journey, people that are newly diagnosed. So we all know about the organization, the amazing organization called Longevity, also Bonnie Adario Foundation, Lung Cancer Alliance. These are amazing organizations that have big spans of control to help massive amounts of people around the globe in this space. And, that gives me hope as well.
Yes. Amen. Amen. And you gave me hope today too, because I've been struggling with my faith, and my pastor texts me, goes, "Where you been at?" I'm like, I'm going through something. I'll be in church, but it's just a lot on our plate.
Yeah,
Lung cancer alone is a lot on our plate, and I might not show it. I might not show it to my family, but they don't know what I think about and feel every single day, because I have to go on
that's
Facebook
right.
and see that we lost somebody. And even though I
That's
say
right.
every day that's not going to be me because God has healed me, it's still in the back of my mind and my next. And then top it off, we
Right.
have our personal problems. It could be, like you said, financially, or it could be someone struggling with a family member, or whatever the case might be. And then you got to add that on top. That's why I work out.
That's
That's why I
right.
go and work out, because I
Yeah,
release all my stress.
that's
But
right. That's
still,
right.
I
You have
come
to.
home and then it's just like reality hits, and it's so much from every angle that I was like, and then I get a little down, because I'm hearing this and I'm hearing that, and then I got to go with this.
You bet.
That's why I travel so much. That's why I travel.
It
That's
is.
my
You're coping.
yes,
You're
yes.
coping. Yeah. And Juanita, what you're describing, I think everybody who's listening, we could probably have them do a little thumbs up or something if they agree. But, we have, whether you're listening and you have a family member or you're dealing with lung cancer yourself or any other cancer, we all have these struggles, and we have to figure out how we can stay above the fray, because it is so easy
Hmm.
to get into that downward spiral that we talked about. And I kind of pride myself, and my friends tell me all the time, I'm a very optimistic
Hmm.
person. I always have been, I always will be. I work hard and I fight the good fight,
Hmm.
but I'll tell you what, it has given me a run for the
Hmm.
money. I have been down in the dumps that I never thought I would be
Hmm.
before. I give a lot of credit to people who have to go through this alone.
Oh God,
I
I know.
am gracious enough that I have an amazing husband, parents, siblings,
Hmm.
nieces and nephews, and amazing group of friends and community that are behind me and around me and supporting me, that I feel really blessed because of that. But I don't take that for granted, because I know there are people out there that don't have
Right.
those angels around them that are helping them get through these struggles. So my advice to people that are maybe listening would be, try not to think of the magnitude of what if. Try not to think about the scenarios that could happen next week, next month, next year. Because if you start to think about your diagnosis and what those scenarios could hand you,
Hmm.
it's not going to turn
Right.
out well. You have to stay focused on the positive. My oncologist told me, Bobbi, half the battle is attitude. And, if you guys agree with that,
Yes.
let's see another
Yes.
thumbs up or
Thumbs up,
heart or
guys.
whatever you can. Half the battle for a Western medicine physician oncologist to say, I have seen people who are stage 1 and 2 who are completely curable have a defeatist attitude and they don't make it.
Hmm.
And people who are advanced stage 4, the worst that it could get, that come in here with somehow a view and a perspective that is beyond their understanding, they're beyond the comprehension, and their spirit and energy is one that's going to fight to the ends of the ends. And that's what pushes people. So look, we all get down in the dumps. We're all going to have that, myself included. But you know what? I have to listen when my husband says, get your shit together. We're going for a walk.
Yeah.
Just little things like that you got to pull yourself out of that mental spiral sometimes. So I mean, look, I agree with you. I think dealing with a lung cancer diagnosis is a full-time, sorry, let me get my light back on again. It's a full-time job in itself.
Yeah, it is.
And I also work full-time, and I also am the, breadwinner for our family. So I have some stressors that I have to make sure I'm keeping, all of the ends and pieces of the puzzle together. And that could be stressful as
Right.
well. But my health comes first, and I'm fortunate that I work for an employer that's extremely understanding, and we're able to, work through arrangements when I need time off, which has been outstanding.
That's awesome. That's a blessing. That is definitely a
Yeah,
blessing.
sure
You have
is.
lots of blessings beside your girl. Lots of them.
I do.
Yes, you do. We all do. But a lot of us choose not to see them or
Yes,
recognize them.
that's right.
And
That's
instead,
right.
all they
Yep.
do is complain. You can't complain. I remember there was a young guy here in Indiana. God, I think he just turned 18, maybe. I don't know. He was young. He was a pastor's son, struggling with cancer. When I was diagnosed, his father and himself found me, and we became friends on Facebook. While his time ended, but his hashtag, he was famous for "Don't complain, don't complain." And he did it
Yeah.
through. And his
Yeah.
father, a pastor. Can you imagine a pastor with that faith and knowing
Right.
that he's going to lose his
Right.
son? But he's still a pastor. And to this day, I'm like, God, how did he get through it? He lost his son. I mean,
Yeah.
God, I got mad at God when he took my mom, and she was 83. She lived a
That's
longer life,
right.
and I was mad at God for almost 2 years. I didn't go to church, and my pastor begging me to go to church. I said, I'll go when I'm ready. I was mad at God for taking my mom at 83. Can you
Yeah.
imagine this pastor losing his son? And all he said was, don't complain. And I just like, wow, and
Well, and I think
here I am complaining of my 18-year-old
there you are.
daughter and my other daughter, and here this kid. And so, yeah, I stop when I want to complain, I stop and think about him. So, he said, don't,
You have
I
to.
have to, yeah,
You've got to stop yourself in your
yeah,
tracks, because we can tend to overthink and overanalyze and overcomplicate
yes,
things. If I would have thought 6 years ago that I would have been in my third clinical trial at this point in my journey, I would have thought, that's crazy. There's no way.
mm-hmm.
Did I think I was going to survive? Absolutely. Was I told I had a 10 to 15% chance to make it to 5 years? Yes. And I made it to 6+
Yes,
now.
good, amen.
But that is through a positive attitude.
Mm-hmm.
It's through a faith-based journey, and never losing sight of the fact that you are in control of the things that you can control. So our attitudes, our outlook, our ability to seek help when we need it from others. And, one of the things I've really gotten into lately, Juanita, is, now that, I love working out, but I can't do the real
Mm-hmm.
physical activities anymore, because now I have the cancer from my lung has traveled to my
Mm-hmm.
bones, and it really is painful, especially in the pelvic area. So until we get that eradicated with this new treatment, which is going to
Mm-hmm.
happen, until then, I'm just doing a lot of stretching. So for those of you who are out there in a similar situation, just get on the floor and
Yeah.
stretch, and do meditation in the morning when you wake up. I'll tell you what, the first thing that I do when my feet hit the ground every morning is I take 5 minutes to just close my eyes, sitting up on the end of my
Mm-hmm.
bed, and I think about what I'm grateful for. I truly say it out loud. What am I grateful for today? And if you try that, I challenge every single one of you watching right now. There's my mama. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
I challenge every single one of you who may be struggling with something. Tomorrow morning, when your feet hit the ground out of that bed, sit on the side of the bed for 5 minutes, close your eyes, and say out loud 3 things that you're grateful for. And I guarantee you that will change your perspective for the day. The other thing that I do in the meditation, 5 minutes, just listen to some music and think about what you're grateful for. And at the very end, as cheesy, Juanita, as this
Mm-hmm.
sounds, this is when I'm really in the pits. I'm done with my meditation. I open my eyes and I get the cheesiest, biggest grin on my face that I could possibly muster
Uh-huh.
up, even if I feel like crap. And I put the biggest smile on. And when you do that, like right now, when you're laughing, doesn't it
Yeah.
change? it changes your perspective,
Gets
your
it done.
outlook a little bit. So it's, we can control a lot more than what we give ourselves credit for. That whole mind body connection, I think, is really
Yes, I
important.
agree. Well, you guys heard it there. She's challenging everyone tomorrow morning. I'm going to do it because Lord knows I need it. So when you wake up, put your feet on the floor, sit on the edge of your bed.
That
3 things that you're grateful for. Say it out loud. Meditate to some
Say it out
music.
loud.
I listen to Christian music. Every now and then I'll listen to what we call worldly music, but I listen to my Christian music. And so if whatever music you have Alexa, I tell her, Alexa, play some Christian music, and she plays it for me. Meditate on that, or find some ocean waves or rain, whatever,
Something.
something. And then she said, put the biggest, cheesiest smile on your face, guys. And then
That's
tomorrow,
right. That's right.
on my page here, Juanita's Fight Against Lung Cancer, I want you all to let us know that you did it and how you felt. Okay, so we're gonna
Yeah, and maybe even tell us what you're grateful for.
yeah, there you go.
When you
Tell
woke up
us.
in the
So
morning.
I expect
Yeah.
tomorrow to get a bunch of posts from you guys on this page, what Bobbi just challenged you guys to do. And I hope I don't forget. I have to write it down because I got chemo brain. I'll be forgetting all kind of stuff. I do.
3 things you're
Yes.
grateful for, and your husband can help you remind you what you guys are grateful for.
Yeah, I'll have my husband do it too. I said, Steve, you got to do
That's
it too,
right.
and then I'll have him post what he's grateful for and how he felt afterwards. Hey, maybe we could all take a
Right.
selfie of our cheesy smile and post it. How's that? Let's make it
I'll
fun.
tell you, it looks a little goofy, but
It's
it
okay.
works.
It's okay. I think we had a question for you, Bobbi. Let me see if I could find it. Let's see if we can find it first. All right. Sherry said, that's how I start every day too. Thank you, Jesus, for it. Amen, girl. Anita says she's overall very positive and hopeful when making plans for the future. Yes. Honey, I already made my plans for the future. I'm going to be the oldest lung cancer survivor in the world. I always say that.
I love it.
I'm gonna meet my
Hi,
I'm gonna
Trina.
meet my great
Trina's my
grandchild. Is she?
Trina's a grade school girlfriend just from many, many years back. That's been a huge supporter recently when she found out I was diagnosed. So
Awesome.
hello
Hi, Trina.
there.
Thank you. Let me see. Mary, okay. Was your diagnosed through a biopsy before a biomarker?
Yes. So when I was in the hospital, as I mentioned earlier, recovering from the C-section, and they found the spot, the advanced stage lung cancer, my OB was telling me, wait a second, that spot in your lung could very well be a nodule. In the Midwest, we have farms, and the air quality with the Great Lakes can be a challenge. And everybody has nodules on their lung. Don't worry about it. Quote unquote, go home and enjoy being a new mom. So guess what I did? I was, about ready to do just that and ignore the advice of the doctors to get this, this additional test, which would be a tissue biopsy. And we went forward with it, and that's when it was confirmed. But this was 6 years ago. We did not do an initial biomarker testing 6 years ago. It wasn't until I had 18 months later a progression in the cancer to the kidney and to the brain.
Okay. And Sherry O'Neill asked, where is your cancer now?
So for the last 2 years on my trial at MD Anderson in Houston, an amazing research hospital. I highly recommend if people have not checked them out. My cancer was limited to both lungs and the kidney, the right kidney. Unfortunately, in December, the kidney grew aggressively to the point where they couldn't even radiate. It went from a 2-centimeter spot to covering 80% of the kidney and the muscle surrounding it. So it was a intense 5-hour surgery to remove the kidney. And now, unfortunately, I was removed from that trial just like I said a few weeks ago, because it's traveled now to the liver and to the bones. So that's okay, because you know what? The other piece of advice, look, we've talked about genetic marker testing. Have it done early, have it done often.
Yes.
Clinical trials save lives. Don't forget about clinical trials. Ask your doctor about the importance and what is available to you based on your genetic markers. And then the third point, which I'm probably going to forget because of what you called chemo brain. This happens all the time, right? It was a really good one too.
I'm sorry.
So I think the point is that we have to make sure that we check our marker testing frequently, because my testing was initially not an EGFR exon 20. It then evolved to EGFR exon 20. and it changed the course of my treatments, which I think was a very successful thing to do. So now that, as of a few weeks ago, my cancer has progressed from the lungs to the now liver, and I have one remaining kidney, and to the bones, I have to just be really mindful of things like with one kidney, I've got to protect her. So she's the weaker of the two kidneys that are remaining, so I can't take any ibuprofen products for pain. I personally, no one in my family can take any opioids for pain because we get violently ill. So I have to do a lot of meditation to get through my pain. And I started acupuncture for the first time this
That's,
week
yeah.
for the pain. And I'll tell you, if anyone's not tried that and they're dealing with any pain, whether it's cancer related, like we're talking about today, or just general pain, check out acupuncture. Make sure they're certified, qualified acupuncturists. But so far, so good. And I'm going to keep
Yeah,
going.
I love acupuncture. I had it done a few times when I was going through chemo. Oh God, I loved it. But I can't find anyone in my area here in Northwest Indiana. And if I do, they're far or they're expensive. And I'm on a budget. I'm cheap. I need to find something reasonable,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah.
Hey, Val, how are you?
So have you tried for pain? Have you tried cannabis oil, CBD oil?
You know, I have to be very careful because I work full time
Oh, that's
for a
right.
large
That's
Fortune
right.
100 corporation. And as we all know, the laws are, you know, the corporate policy on drug and alcohol free workplace trumps any state policies, which have to be, you know, the state laws. That has to
Yeah.
change. I believe wholeheartedly that people that are dealing with advanced stage cancers in general have a right to work with their physicians on managing their care in all means possible. And if that means, sorry, the outside light keeps going off. And if that means that we, you know, supplement, which my oncologists tell me all the time, supplement your clinical trials, supplement everything you can with CBD and cannabis oil. And, you know, I've known a lot of people that do it and have been very successful in just managing side effects and managing pain, whether it's CBD or THC, that people are really showing some
Yeah.
good luck with.
CBD didn't do much for me. The THC did a lot for me. So
Yeah, and the
yeah.
combinations.
So I am.
Yeah.
My husband is a firm believer in that, and so I am. I am too. Um, for medical purposes, though. That's for my
Right,
children for
right.
medical purposes.
That's right. Medical
Yeah,
only.
but yeah, he's a firm believer in that, and he to this day he'll tell people because I got when I was going through chemo radiation, the beginning of my cancer, he got me the THC, not the CDB. Yeah, he
CBD.
got me the THC, and to this day he tells people he truly believes that helped me out a lot, and I do too. I don't need
Sure.
it
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
because I'm
Right,
considered
right.
NED, so I don't need it now. Do I
Sure.
still have?
And Ned, for those of you that are watching that don't know Ned, Ned is the one who all of us want
Yes,
to have a part of
yes.
our lives, which is no
Evidence of
evidence of
disease.
disease.
And that's me.
Ned is our goal.
Yeah, that'd be me. It'll be 4 years. Well, my 5-year anniversary is coming up in November, but it'll be 4 years when I was considered NED. Is it December? I think it's December. I don't remember. But yeah, it's gonna be four
Wow.
years. Yeah. So yes, God
Amazing.
is good.
That's my
Oh,
goal.
you're gonna get
My
there.
goal.
You're gonna get there,
Absolutely.
girl.
You bet.
Because you're
You
gonna have
bet. And
lots of
you
people
know,
praying for you.
I do, and I feel it, and I know that, and I don't minimize the value of that for a single minute. And I think I'm also blessed in that I have this beautiful, you know, now 6-year-old who's been on this journey
Yes.
since day one,
Yes.
and she knows no different, and she is the light of my life for sure.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Yes. Amen. Amen. So, guys, if you don't have any questions for Bobbi, then this is it. Um, Bobbi, you did such an amazing job. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you. Hey,
much.
thanks, Val.
You when you were talking about earlier about I forgot what we were talking about, Tony. I forget things, but there was something you're talking about your faith and our attitude and being positive and stuff. I mean, you brought tears to my eyes. I was trying not to cry on, Facebook Live.
I could see
Yeah,
him.
'cause
I could see
my
it.
eyes got real teary-eyed. But it's even I do too. We all need reminders every day, and just when you
That's right.
think, you know, someone comes and reminds you. And to me, those are reminders. That's to me, that's God speaking to me through other people, like through you, Bobbi, reminding me I
You
haven't
bet.
left you. You think I left you, but I haven't left you, because that's sometimes how we feel, with everything going
Right,
around,
right.
especially fighting lung cancer. You feel that. And so it's just a reminder that he is still with me. I just need to get back to where I used to be. And I know that. But,
Yep, yep. Well, a day at a time
yes,
and one step at a
yes,
time, right?
exactly. But my goodness, Bobbi, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing
You
you
bet.
in a week and a half, right?
Yes.
It's about a week and a half. Yes,
Yes, that's right. I forgot it was coming up that
yes,
quick. I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to it. That's my inspiration to keep
yes.
on this journey of get
Me too.
healing.
Now,
So
I've never, I
thank
traveled and
yeah.
did a lot of stuff for lung cancer advocacy work, but haven't went up to the hill and talk. So
Yeah.
yeah, I have a mouth and I have an attitude, and I tell politicians in this area how I feel and how they should be doing things.
As you should,
Yes, and
Juanita. As you
so I'm
should.
glad they're going to kind of train me, because Indiana is a Republican state, and and
That's
I'm just
right.
gonna leave
That's
it
right.
there. And for me, I'm like, I'll
Well,
be a look. And so I'm glad they're gonna kind of coach me
yes.
and maybe help me tone it down, because I could go under full force and put my hand on that table and say,
Well,
look, this is what we
I
need.
think I think the reality is that we absolutely need to be our own advocate.
Hmm.
So we get an opportunity in a week and a half to be on Capitol Hill
Hmm.
to talk with legislators who are accountable for putting legislation forward that will change the future
Hmm.
for people that are maybe not yet even diagnosed with lung cancer. So I want to make sure that we go into that opportunity on Capitol Hill to educate
Yes,
them on the face of lung cancer. The,
yes.
the face of lung cancer, is definitely something that has
Hmm.
changed over the
Yes,
years. We talked earlier on this call that it's no longer the, 30 pack a day smoker that has the,
yes,
the voice box they have to hold to speak. That's not it. It's the two people you see on the screen right
yes.
here that are otherwise healthy that are being diagnosed with advanced stage lung
Hmm.
cancer. So we've got to just educate
Yes.
people.
And that's what I plan to do. Kind of with a little toughness in there, but that's what we plan to
That's
do.
right.
Because
That's right.
our voices got to be
Oh,
heard. They got to listen to us. Something's got
you
to be
bet.
done. I'm tired of going on Facebook and on the groups and seeing that we lost people that, that I thought they were doing well. I'm just sick of it. And then you build
It's hard.
relationship, and then they're gone, and then you just have this void. You have this emptiness, and then
That's
and
right.
then some of us have that survivor's guilt, and I'm tired of feeling that. No, I don't want to do that. I want all of us to, you know, see each other in better circumstances,
That's
not
right.
in these summits and hoping that I hope I see you next year. No, I don't want that. I am going to see you
Right.
next year, thanks to research, thanks to funding, thanks to clinical trials, thanks to all that. That's what I want, so
That's right. That's
so then
exactly it. Well, Juanita, I can't thank you enough
oh
for doing your part. Look, you've been through the tough stuff and you are our goal, which is you're in a glorious place of no evidence of disease right now, but you have that nagging thing in the back
hmm
of your mind all the
yes,
time that you're still a survivor. And I love that you have taken this newfound energy and created the space for us to talk about cancer and talk about what we can do and educate
yes.
people.
Well,
So
thank you.
so thanks for inviting me to be a
Oh, you're
part of this
welcome,
today.
sweetheart, and thank you. It was tugging at my heart for a while, and I knew that was God. I knew it was, and I kept telling my husband, and he kept saying, "Oh, well, how are we gonna do this?" Because I wanted it to be like Oprah, where we sit on a chair and the cameras.
Air of the
I wanted
cameras.
all that,
I want
and
Right.
so then
Start
yeah,
simple. Start simple,
exactly.
right?
So then I started this.
And look at the effect you're
Yes,
having. It's been
yes,
amazing.
and I've been helping so many, and you guys, because this is all about you. Everyone knows my story, but this is about you guys, and you guys are sharing a story and giving advice and stuff, and just helping people. So I'm so glad I started this. I'm so glad that a lot of you guys, said yes to doing this. I mean, some are like, no, I
Right.
can't do it. Yes, you can. You could do it. So, hit me up and
It's
let's
important.
pencil you in. I know am I full in August? I don't know if I'm full in August or not, but I'm filling up for September. So shoot me a message and let's share your story, because every story is different and every story will make a difference in somebody's life. That is for sure.
Absolutely. Even one
Yes, even
person,
one
right?
person, exactly. It might not be lung
So
cancer. It
the
could be anybody.
that's right.
You just,
Absolutely. So let's remind people of the challenge, right, as we close
yes,
tonight. But sorry, it's gotten really dark outside. It was nice when I
yeah,
started this video with you, but it's so the challenge is for everyone listening, whether you're lung cancer survivor, caregiver, or just someone curious who's helping support a friend or family member who's dealing with cancer. When your feet hit the ground tomorrow morning, whether it's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever that is, your feet hit the ground, sit on the edge of your bed for 5 minutes and say out loud 3 things that you're grateful for. And then go back onto Juanita's page and give her some kudos. Tell her what you thought of, tomorrow morning that you're grateful for, so we can pay it forward with each other and hopefully inspire
yes,
each other as well. But keep the faith. Those of you who are going through some tough times right now with
yes.
your cancer battles, you have a community here. We're here for each other through the highs and the lows. You're not alone. So please feel free
Amen.
to reach out to any of us.
Yes,
So
amen.
Juanita, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sweetheart. I look forward to seeing you in a week
You
and a
too.
half. Love you. Get some rest.
You
Give the
too.
baby a hug and a kiss, and I'll see you
You
soon. And
bet.
thank you guys for watching.
Okay.
Remember, share.
Bye,
Say
everyone. Thanks
bye.
for tuning
Yes,
in. See you
bye.
later. See you
Okay,
later.
sweetheart. Okay, let's see.